welcome to another episode of Inside NDF. Today, we're so excited to introduce you to our newest board member, Diane Caporella. She owns a
Hi.
studio in Pennsylvania,
Yes, Broomall,
Art in
Pennsylvania.
Motion Dance Studio. So Diane and I would run into each other at dance conferences, dance teacher conferences. So we got to know each other when she did some NBA games. So we just pulled her right in. But we're going to let her tell you about that as we go on. But first, as I always like to start, Diane, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Diane Caporella, as you just heard. I live in Broomall, Pennsylvania. It's a suburban community right outside of Philadelphia. And I'm a proud mom of two grown sons and happily married to my husband, Joe, for 30 years now. All of my guys have been very involved in my journey through this wonderful life of dance that I'm so privileged to be able to have. So they do things from anything from lighting, designing light boards at the dance studio, running soundboards at recitals, helping me with all the administrative aspects of running a dance studio, or even building the floors and things of that nature. So it's kind of like we're all involved with dance in some aspect.
That's so nice. I know for a long time my husband was called Mr. Kathy. So I'm sure you have a Mr. Diane.
Oh my goodness, it's so funny that you say that because years ago they started to call him Mr. Diane. And he was very good sport about it. He took that role on pretty well. So
Jim
that's
too.
pretty funny, yeah.
Jim too. So when did you first get involved in dance? What prompted you to get involved in dance, which will lead me into why did you want to open up a dance studio?
So great thing. I started dance right before I turned 3 years old. My
Wow.
mom my mom enrolled me, and both of my parents were involved, but my mom danced when she was a child, and they had moved out of Philadelphia, and there was one dance studio in this community at that time, the Ellen Crescenta School of Dancing, where she enrolled me, and I have never stopped dancing since. So I have to say, I'm so, so blessed that I had my parents and my wonderful, wonderful dance teacher, Miss Ellen, who I am still very, very close to today. We're blessed that she's still with us. She had her studio for about 47 years. Her aunt and uncle were dance studio owners and dance educators. Her uncle was pretty much a legend. He danced on in vaudeville. People probably don't even know what that is anymore.
That's okay.
And
I
he
know what it is.
he was a crazy little Italian South Philly guy who did all the
That's funny.
tap and jazz. And
Sure.
then her aunt, he married her aunt she was from England. So she danced in the Royal Ballet Company in England before coming to the US and actually danced as a child with Anna Pavlova, which was pretty wild. And so I'm so privileged that have been part of that great family of educators that came before me. And then after a while, I danced there and I knew I wanted to be a dance teacher. So when I was about 14 years old, I began an apprenticeship program with her where I trained with her for 4 years before graduating to a teacher status in her studio. And then I taught for her for about 18 years after that and before starting Art in Motion. So
Wow. Now,
whole life.
did you take over there, or did you start a new studio altogether?
I started my excuse me, I started my own studio altogether, but ironically, she retired. I moved into her old studio space,
How
and then
nice.
she came on as and taught for my students when she was older, and I was so happy because she's a phenomenal, phenomenal teacher, and I have a lot of thanks I give to her for all she taught me, and not just dance, but teaching dance and just life in general. She used to say to me, "If you know your stuff and you love children, that's all you need. You're gonna do great." And, I always remembered her saying that, so
That's so
lots
nice.
of things.
And it's interesting, the dance community always stays full circle because if you think about it, like you say, you still remember her and have that long time relationship with her. There's no other time that a student teacher relationship lasts that many years, because when you're in grade school or school, you go year to year to year. You don't have that continuation. She watched you grow up just as you watch students grow up. At UDMA, the dance straight show, I mean, I have students that are dance teachers that I still see and still stay in contact with. So it's a nice feeling in that way, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's one of the best things about being a dance teacher. When you say that, it's funny because at the last UDMA show, I was there when you were there presenting the tribute to Art Stone. And I actually came home and told Miss Ellen, my teacher, about how beautiful and moving that tribute was to him. Her uncle and her herself knew Art and Nancy Stone very well. So right away she said, "Oh, you're kidding. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that." But it is funny how, it kind of is, it goes full circle. I always say the beat goes on
Always.
and the beat goes
Oh,
on and on and
I
on.
like that even better. The beat goes on. I always say full circle,
Always,
but
right?
I'm gonna take it with the beat goes on. And for those of you who don't know, Art and Nancy Stone originally started Dance Olympus conventions, which I grew up going to, loving. And Art Stone, the competitor dance costume, they were celebrities within our small community. So they always were amazing. So
Absolutely.
and Nancy still to
Yes,
this day
absolutely.
serves as chair, serves on the board with you for National Dance Foundation.
Mm,
She's been a big backbone to keep it going for so long. So we're fortunate to still have her. Now, I know I kind of ringed you in, but you had a choice. But why did you
mhm.
choose to want to serve on the National Dance Foundation board?
I was so excited when you mentioned the possibility of me coming to join you as a board member for the foundation. I just feel so strongly and passionately about how wonderful National Dance Foundation is and all the great things they do. So, when I opened my studio, one of my missions was I wanted anyone who wanted to dance to have the opportunity to dance, whether they were 3, 53, whether they had some type of learning difference or physical disability. Everyone should be able to dance. So I always said kindness, inclusion, community. Wow, I need to find out about this foundation because that's it was like I needed to be with you. I mean, it was just a perfect match. And the just the Sixers pregame, the NBA pregame performances are amazing. And I just can't even say enough about it. It's just been such a joy. And I'm so happy and honored to be able to come on and join you as a board member to
We're
help
happy to have
share
you. I mean,
to
we're the
share the
happy ones
benefits.
to have you. Yeah. Because
Yes.
when you think of that mission of NDF, hashtag KIC, kindness, inclusion, and community,
Mhm.
we try to reach it out. And it sounds like it means something to you also, kindness, inclusion, and community.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also have a niece with Down syndrome. So, unfortunately she doesn't live here. She's 300 miles away. But one of these days I'm gonna bring her to one of this NBA pregame performances because she would just absolutely love it.
Love it.
Dance and music have been so beneficial to her, and you can just see the joy it brings her. She does her little recitals in the kitchen when I'm down there, and, so that was another thing that I think inspired me to say, "Hey, I would love to help you in any way I can." And,
I'm
also just
glad.
National Dance Week even coming up. I'm
Well,
really
before
excited
we
about
talk
that.
about National Dance Week, let's talk
Yeah.
about the NBA. You have done it, if I'm correct, 3 years for the Philadelphia 76ers. So,
Yeah.
Diane, do you remember? And I think it was the first year, and this would be the first
Yes.
year that you and I met. I was just telling this story with Trisha Gomez, who we give the scholarship, the Rhythm Work
Yes.
scholarships out to, how inclusive it is that we had everybody lined up. And remember, there was one young man, a boy, young teen, with his mother. Someone had gifted him because he was autistic on the spectrum. Had gifted him some sideline tickets to be there when they were warming up. And she asked us about what we were doing. And do you
Yes.
remember he came out and he danced on the court with us, even though he didn't know
Yes.
anything, but he danced the entire time?
Yes, I do.
That was
Yes,
what
that
that
was
was
really
amazing. The mother was so thankful. I mean, he
I mean,
loved
I had tears in my eyes for real because
me
I
too.
believe it was actually the coach, either the coach or the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers organization who always gives tickets, some of his sideline, courtside seats to people on the spectrum or, with disabilities or whatever. And I remember you saying, "This is exactly why we do this." And when he came out and danced, that was just a really, really special moment. I'll never forget that.
I won't either because even when I think about it now, it kind of chokes me up a little bit. So that's why I encourage everybody. And even if it's not a special needs dancer that you're bringing, I mean, you and I both know from teaching for so long, that rec student who takes that 1 hour a week that is never going to go
Mm.
on to be a dancer. Sometimes it's just important to let them go out there and have fun to perform on the court and with the parents. How have your students really enjoyed just that? Even the ones that aren't winning the gold and platinums everywhere that they go.
Right. Well, funny you should bring that up because when we first did it in 2020, I'll never forget. I know the date. It was February 9th, 2020. It was the last thing we did before the
COVID.
pandemic hit us and shut everything down. So that was, and I couldn't wait to get back out there. So when they came back, I think I saw you at Dance Teacher Web
I think
conference
so
when
too.
I said, we want to do it again. And with my studio, I have to tell you, we do a lot of events that are not in the competition or dance arenas per se. We do lots of different events and performances, but by far, the NBA pregame show for National Dance Foundation at the Philadelphia 76ers is the most popular event we do. Like, we have so many students. I remember when it first came back 2 years ago, I had moms of 5-year-olds come up and say, "Oh, I would love for them to do it, but I know they're too young." And I was a little hesitant, but I thought, "You know what?" I said, "I don't think they're too young." I said, This is for a great cause. This is for
Right.
National Dance Foundation. It's for everyone, inclusion." I said, "I think we should put them in." And they loved it. I mean, they still talk about it because they couldn't believe these little kids getting out there. First of all, the opportunity for a child, like you said, a lot of recreational dancers in my studio participate to be able to have the opportunity to go out there, run through that tunnel and run out and perform on the court for where all
It's
these professional
exciting.
athletes are playing. It's very exciting. They talk about it all the time. It's one of the best events we do. And I wholeheartedly recommend other studios should get out there because if you're not participating in an NBA pregame, your studios and your students are really missing out. It's a wonderful experience. The parents love it too. We have about 40 to 50 kids minimum that sign up right away. And then we have like over 100 friends and family members that come out just to cheer it on. And the parents are even saying, "My daughter's performing on the court at the Sixers game."
And the
So
Sixers are a great team, so it's even better, you know.
right, right. Well, I don't know how they're doing now, but in any event,
So
yeah. So, I mean, I highly recommend that other studios participate.
you
It's
bring
a
up a good
wonderful
point
experience.
about the 5-year-old, like leaving it open to everybody, because I've had been asked that question. I said, as long as they'll just move about and dance a little bit, they'll follow along enough. As long as they're not afraid, then you love them to come. So that was great.
Yes,
So
yes.
the other
And
thing is, go
it
ahead.
brings I'm sorry.
No, go.
It really brings our studio it really brings our studio together because when we learn the dance and we're practicing in the studio, we have girls as old as, 18 years old that are about to graduate and leave us for college, but they all bond together. So I always say, like, to the younger ones, "This will be your big sister." And they say, "That's my big sister." So it brings the studio even closer together. Doing events like that also, yes, it's great. We're in the studio, we're teaching dance, but we're teaching a lot more than dance. But when you do events like this outside the studio, where it's exciting, first of all, but then even after the performance is over, everyone's together. It brings such a strong bond with the kids because now they're outside having, outside of the studio and it just enjoying themselves with fellow students in the studio. So it really develops a lifelong friendships with some of these kids as they go through experiences like that.
That's a good
So
point. And that's that community of hashtag KIC. That's that community part. Now,
yes.
I know you've celebrated National Dance Week for a few years now. So tell us what kind of activities you've done.
So interestingly enough, when I first opened my studio almost 20 years ago, I learned about National Dance Week. And I right away looked into it and I thought, well, I need to get involved with this. I want to be a part of it. So back then, I signed up to be a delegate for National Dance Week.
I remember.
Yes. And then since then, I'm really trying to do as many things as I can during National Dance Week to celebrate. So I've gone to libraries and done a story time, like a book reading and pick a really cute, book, dance-based book, and then end it with a little mini dance class in the library. I've gone into schools, the local schools in the community, just to talk about dance and dance history and the benefits of dance and teach a little bit of dance then too. And we usually try to go to at least one retirement community to perform because that also brings in community. And that is always, we're doing it again this year. We'll be going to Rosewood Gardens Retirement Center. That is always such a great event too because it's community, but it's a win-win because the kids are performing and they're having, here I'm going to put my costume on. And the residents are probably the best audience members we would ever have because they're just so delighted to see these little kids. Who doesn't want to see a little girl in a tutu, right? So
I know.
sometimes they're fighting to get in the room to watch us. So, and they're just an enthusiastic audience for sure. So, and it's great because it's right before your recital season starts. So the kids have their costumes, they have their dances, they're ready to go. So it's almost like a kind of like a run through of the recital.
Great.
And yeah, so we're doing that. We're also this year, we have some kids that are doing the essay contest for National Dance Week through National Dance Foundation, the poster contest,
Love it.
and we're really excited about the shout out challenge.
I can't
So
wait to see the videos come in. I can't wait for that.
yes, yes. So with our studio, what I decided to do was rather than do one big, this for I guess maybe you should explain what the shout out is before
So
I
the
talk
shout
about
out
it.
challenge and the contest runs the month before National Dance Week is we always have a 30, it's maybe 15 to 30 second. It's like a cheer type. It's words that you do without music. So we've asked our students to be creative. You can use the words we've been using for the shout out, or we gave some new wording that you could use to see what kind of dance they put with that. I don't know if you want to call it a chant, a cheer, but I can't wait to see what comes in.
Yeah, so what I decided to do was because it's another way kids can work together, be
Uh-huh.
creative and work together as a team. So we've been talking to each of our classes that are old enough to do it on independently of a staff member. We help the kids with their creativity, but we say, because a lot of our students know that shout out. We stand for kindness, so they're doing your
They've
moves. And I
done
said,
it
no,
for years. We keep the same one, just different movements, so they do know the words. Yes.
yes, and it's a great message. But what we've been doing is having them each class create their own choreography to the shout out. So the way we do it, we say, okay, now you all think, and then everybody can give their, suggestion of what they think we
Good
should do for We
idea.
Dance. What are we gonna do for that? And then they vote. So we've been working on that. And then we're gonna have them all come in and we'll take a video. We're having them practice. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time for studio owners that want to participate. It's really we dedicate about the last 10, 15 minutes of class to that activity the last few weeks. But you could do it in one class, you could do it. And the kids are excited because they
Creative.
get
We
really
really get
creative.
to be creative and it's fun for them. So it's a little something different. And with that being said, what encouragement would you give teachers to get involved in National Dance Week or any activities all year round?
I'm so excited to share that because I have to say, as a studio owner and a student and a dance educator, the benefits of being a part of National Dance Foundation and their activities and, events for National Dance Week are so beneficial on so many levels to your students. Like, if you don't do it, I just don't understand why anybody wouldn't want to jump on board. Our studio is a proud partner studio, which other studio owners should really be aware of the benefits of just that alone. Being on the website for National Dance Foundation, your studio's promoted, your studio name appears as a proud partner. There's a direct link that goes straight to your studio's website, and it's for almost no cost. I don't know what it is, but
Donation
so
and the
that's one.
donation helps us tremendously. I mean,
Right, and it also helps to support, and it's the donation is really not very much. I mean, it's a
it's
no-brainer to me.
$75 for the year. So
Wow. So like, yeah, that's crazy.
yes,
So, and again, your students benefit because you can do these games, these NBA performances are just one thing, but now we've done that and we will continue to do that. We can't wait for next year. But just doing this little shout out challenge has been such a great activity. Like I said, the kids are learning to work together and be independent and be creative, and they're really excited about it. It's like a fun thing. They're like, "Oh, can we do our shout out?" Well, some of them call it a cheer because some of them say, "I'm a cheerleader. Let's do this move." And I'm like, okay, that's great. So there's just all in all. And you're you're teaching your students a very, very valuable message and lesson that really carries over in everywhere in life, not just in dance, in life in general. I mean, we all need to, raise our children to be kind, caring people, never leaving anybody out, don't exclude people, include everyone. And, always have a sense of community, which is really an important and valuable asset for your kids to have growing up. So I wholeheartedly recommend everybody jump on board and get involved with National Dance Foundation.
and that is why we're so happy to have you as a board member, because
Oh,
you
thank
do
you,
have
Kathy.
those values. We are very fortunate to be able to have you. So thank you, Diane. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to really be with us for the interview for the podcast. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. So we're going to get ready to say goodbye, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Inside Dance. And as always, if you'd like to learn more information about the foundation, you can go on our website, nationaldancefoundation.org. These episodes will be streamed on NDF's YouTube channel, Spotify, and Apple. So we're so excited that you could join us today. So as we sign off and we say goodbye, we give our final words that I always say. Don't forget, keep dancing. And thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.